In terms of health care, the reality is they're just not being honest. The amount of money that actually is going towards people who are undocumented is such a small portion of the Medicaid cuts.
Now is California Congressman Khanna, a member of the House Oversight, Armed Services, and China Select Committees. Congressman, it's great to see you this morning. Thanks so much for being here.
Good morning, Maria. Always a pleasure to be on.
Are you expecting a government shutdown? How do you think this plays out?
I hope not. Here's how we see it from the Democratic side. First, we want a commitment that whatever Congress passes, the president will spend. I mean, the reality is that the president has not been willing to commit to actually spending what Congress appropriates. And in some cases, he's had this theory of impoundment or rescission, that he can just do whatever he wants. So what's the point of having a negotiation if he's not going to commit to actually living by what we authorize? And the second, as you pointed out, is to get the Democratic votes, we have to make sure that either there's a reversal of the Medicaid cuts or there's not going to be a tax hike on millions of Americans who are on the ACA, whose health care is going to go up almost 80%. Final point is the Republicans have the votes. They can pass it through the Senate, the House, the presidency. They have the power. They can get rid of the filibuster and do this tomorrow.
Yeah, but you don't want them to get rid of the filibuster. Nobody wants to get rid of the filibuster. They want the 60 votes and to have regular order. Look, Republicans have been on this program this morning, Congressman, and what they keep saying is that the Democrats want to make it easier for illegal immigrants to get health care. And while they say they want to return to pre-COVID spending, there is no effort on the Democrat side to return to pre-COVID spending if you're adding $1 trillion in health care spending. Your response?
First of all, the filibuster, I've been consistent. I called for eliminating the filibuster when Joe Biden was president. I think they should do it now. They already have eliminated it for so many things like the presidential appointment. So if they want to pass a budget, they're in power. They have the Senate, they have the House, they have the presidency. They can do it tomorrow. In terms of health care, the reality is they're just not being honest. The amount of money that actually is going towards people who are undocumented is such a small portion of the Medicaid cuts or the Affordable Care Act, if at all. And so we can argue that point, but the reality that even the vice president would acknowledge, that anyone who looks at the numbers will acknowledge, is 90 to 95% of the funding we're talking about is talking about funding for American citizens. And